Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Ask Ryu show. It's been about 4 weeks since I've done an episode of this show, so this one's going to be a little bit longer and a little bit different in content. Um, I didn't take any specific questions, I just kind of took like a group of questions that I was kind of consistently seeing and combined that with some current events, and that's what we'll be talking about today. Hope you guys had a good holiday. I spent some time with my family for Christmas, which I enjoyed very much. Had a good New Year. I'm actually a little bit under the weather, if you guys can't tell, because I sound different or sound nasally or something. I'm actually fighting a cold. Couldn't get to sleep, so feeling a little tired. And while sitting here, I was like, well, I might as well record an episode of this show. This is actually now my third attempt to record this episode. I had some audio issues on the first one, so hopefully they're squared away here. I just tested and everything worked, so fingers are crossed. So without too much ado, I will jump into the first topic, which is the big news that came out yesterday, that the iBP players and all other proven match fixers will be permanently banned by Valve. I keep getting asked my thoughts. My thoughts in a nutshell is permanent seems excessive, because for me there was no transparency from Valve in how they made the decision. There was no, excuse me, in addition to not having any transparency whatsoever, there's no appeal process. We don't have all the evidence. And I just feel like a permanent ban is a little extreme. I didn't think they were all going to get unbanned, because I think that the article from Richard Lewis said that he called it a betting ring, and there were some ring leaders that I thought were going to stay banned, but I thought some other players were not. I was clearly wrong. So that being said, I feel like it kind of sucks. People are saying like cheating bans aren't for permanent, and I tweeted this out yesterday. But to clarify, if you get caught by Valve, you're permanently banned. If you get caught by ESCA, that's not a VAC ban, so it's a little bit different. I know Civo has been sharing their detections, and I'm assuming their detection methods with Valve. We got cheated against by a player in Civo a season ago, and he got caught by the Civo client. Next day he got a VAC ban, and then there was a ban wave, VAC ban wave. So the cheating bans are also permanent, and I think that should be without question. I think it's unfair for Valve to permanently ban somebody based on ESEA's ban if they actually don't have any validation of it. It's not their client. So wanted to clarify that. I think Skadoodle's the luckiest man to wake up alive and free today, seeing as how his career in CS:GO has been pretty well funded. And he was apparently just a hair away from accepting some skins, and then he would have also been a part of that ban, according to some things that Steel had said on stream recently. So he kind of got lucky there, and I don't think it hurts the future of NA CS:GO too terribly bad. I was looking forward to seeing Swag and AZK specifically compete again. It's unfortunate, and I hope I'm never a part of any situation like that. I think it's a lesson learned for all people from the outside viewing in. Make good decisions, because one bad decision could literally change your life, and in this instance, change your career, maybe your hobbies. The commitment that somebody like Swag has made at such a young age to this game is more or less over with. And there's a chance they'll be able to compete in some leagues. I might be the minority opinion on this. I don't feel like the other leagues should let them play. In good competitive league play, like pugs and stuff, okay. ESCA has actually said that they'll let them pug, but they're not playing in league. I'm probably the minority there, but I feel like if Valve's going to say, for all the important events, the Valve majors, the Valve sponsored events, you guys can't compete, I don't think they should be competing against everybody, all the teams that are competing at those in one or two particular places. For me, it's kind of sloppy. I don't like it. I'm probably the minority on that, but that's my thoughts. And sucks that they got to deal with it, but it is what it is, and like I said, I think forever is too long. There's no appeal process, so they just kind of have to take it. And fortunately, some of them are making a ton of money off this game anyway. A little bit of a silver lining, but it's a terrible thing that's going to stick with those players for the rest of their careers, and stick with NA too. A little bit of a stain on us. That being said, as for the future of NA, I think tails well into the next thing I keep getting asked about. Skrunk leaked some rumored roster changes on the subreddit yesterday. And because I have already gone through this twice, I'm going to be pretty brief. I'm going to start with C9 getting Tarek. I don't think that's going to solve the problems that they created by having Sean leave. I think Sean brought to them a level of preparation and intellectual um, competitiveness that they don't have with Tarek. So like if they were here with Sean, I think they kind of stepped here, and then adding Tarek brought them up a little bit. I think they're going to struggle for a little while till they find their place. If that's, and again, I should have said to start this, these roster things are mostly taken with a grain of salt. There are a lot of rumors. The Tarek rumor to C9 is something that I have heard for a while, and wouldn't surprise me if it actually happens. I don't think he's signed a contract with them yet. But again, I think that they went from tier 1 to possibly a tier 2 team with that move, just because I felt like Sean made such an impact for them, and I don't think Tarek can make up the difference there. One of the other things that Skrunk leaked yesterday was that Method's looking to pick up Gabi and Legia. What I've been told is that Justin with a 9 has been trying out for other teams, and that their team is dead. And this is as recent as of today. I know Silent 3M on Twitter said that they're not dead and they're going to try to find a way to stick it out and keep their Pro League spot. If they do, I think they're tier 2.5, maybe closing in on tier 3, depending on which players they kind of bring to bear. They've struggled for a couple seasons. They seem to have found like a level like here, and then they've never actually been able to kind of raise that level. Davey just left to join Threes Up, and I think he was probably their best player on paper, most consistent in terms of fragging. And I think they're in for some trouble. If they don't field the team and they die, I think it presents a little bit of an interesting dynamic, at least for the Pro League and ESEA, in that it would open up 2 spots for wild cards for ESEA to add a team like Renegades, and then possibly another team that's rumored is the Team Solomid TSM roster. Skrunk put out yesterday Semphis, Automatic, Fugly, and FNS with no 5th. For a while, those guys were trying to get Kusta. Kusta declined. And then also for a while, those guys were trying to get Stewie, but apparently they felt like Stewie was annoying. They said he was immature, his ego was too big, and he wasn't fragging in organized Counter-Strike like he does when he can pug, like in FPL or ESEA. So they actually chose to not pick up Stewie. I think that Fugly is a really good player. I think on paper that 4 is a decent tier 2 team without knowing who the 5th would be. I actually think Fugly would make sense going to CLG, which I'll get to in a minute. I think on the TSM roster, Semphis and Automatic are confirmed. The Daily Dot reported that Complexity had sold them. They had been bought out from Complexity by TSM. So I think those 2 are solid as playing on that roster. I don't know about Fugly, who I think is the big question mark to me. I could see FNS playing with that team, though. And again, on paper, I think it looks like a tier 2 roster. CLG was a tier 1 roster, and they would be losing, according to the rumors. They had already lost FNS, who they cut, and then Tarek would be leaving to go to C9. I think CLG, the rumored additions would be Stewie and Akis. I can't speak much about Akis. I honestly just don't know enough about the guy. He could be the next Albmeister. He could just be a bottom-of-the-barrel player. I have no idea. So I was surprised to see that name. I've been told that the CLG guys also haven't been too fond of playing with Stewie, given his some of his out-of-the-game stuff, attitude and ego and personality, and just like they didn't feel like he was a really good teammate. Don't know if that's true or not. But I could see Fugly taking either the Akis or Stewie spot, or maybe taking the Stewie spot and they get a different 5th that they've been rumored to be talking to. I think that team went from really high tier 1 to possibly tier 2 on paper, having lost Tarek and FNS, their IGL. And it'll be interesting to see how those guys can compete next season. The team that I think benefited the most from the shuffling of the rosters is Liquid, who added Simple. And I don't know if you guys have followed Simple or watched his stream at all. The dude is absolutely insane at this game. Somebody in my stream yesterday was saying he had like almost 7,000 hours. He's actually streaming right now of CS:GO, and I mean, he's young, he's talented, and he's put in 6,000 or 7,000 hours on just his main account. That's not all of his other accounts. I mean, the dude's going to be really good. I think if there's a player that's going to come to NA and raise the bar in terms of individual skill, Simple could be that guy. I think Liquid's a clear tier 1, probably the favorite to win Pro League. Yeah, so again, I think TSM, CLG, and C9 may have all taken steps towards tier 2 instead of stepping up to tier 1. Method may die, not sure. I think Renegades and TSM are the likely candidates right now to get a wild card spot into the professional division of ESEA. And just overall, a lot of the shuffling, I think, is not a really good thing for those rosters that are listed there. I did mention, or I may not have mentioned, that TSM was trying to get Kusta. Kusta didn't stay. Kusta decided to stay with our team for next season, which I'll cover a little bit of our stuff too. But I wanted to make sure that was clear that Kusta will not be joining that TSM roster. Question I kept getting a couple weeks ago, and I'm actually making good time on this, so we'll probably be in that 15-minute range, which is good. Last ones were 20 minutes, and I did it twice. Keep that in mind. FPL for NA, I think, is a really good thing. I'm a big fan of it. It lets you compete against the top players in NA, which is good. I feel like because it's based on the team winning, not individuals just kind of soloing stuff, it deters a lot of that puggy play. That being said, there's a team balancing issue where the best players keep getting on the teams with each other. Last month it was like the top 5 players statistically were always on the same team, and then they would just kind of like steamroll like 10 matches in a row, distancing their points, and it was just really kind of crappy. I think that if they fix that, it'll be better, because when that happens, it gets really puggy. Like it's like, oh, this 5 is better than that 5, so we're just going to rush and outshoot them every round. It's kind of annoying. But overall, I think it's good. I think it's going to encourage ESEA to come up with something to compete with that, because I think right now ESEA is feeling the pains of having all the pros playing FPL. I think it helps notice talent, helps you find young players that maybe are unnoticed. For me, I actually found a couple players that I didn't think I would like to play with. Specifically, one player that I've talked not highly about in the past, that I now see in a totally different light, is Shinobi, who used to be on the Denial roster that kind of got screwed by ESEA. I felt like he was a very puggy player, and I was just like, I don't think I would like playing with that guy. And then every time I've had him on my team, like his comms are good, he's a good teammate, he's willing to drop guns, he knows all the smokes and nades. I play well off him, he plays well off me, he's good positioning, to play off his teammate's CT side. He's good at, just overall, I was impressed, and I didn't think that highly of him until having played with him. And there's been a couple other ones, but that one for me stood out. And I think that's really good. So you kind of get a feel of like where the talent is, where the good teammates are. If you can find one in the same, maybe they're looking for a team. I think it's a really good system for spotting that talent, which is something I like to do personally. I like to evaluate talent. I was saying Kusta was going to be a star 2 or 3 years ago, which I think has proven to be a true statement. So I really like that element of it. And one element of it that doesn't really get talked about too much, and I guess before I make that point, let me also say that the converse of the Shinobi thing is true. There's some players that I'm like, man, this guy is so good, he's so talented, I can't wait to play with him. And I play with him and doesn't communicate, super annoying, immature, ego, backseat gamer, toxic. Like, there's been a couple of those players that I'm like, I'm going to play with this guy, it's going to be awesome. And we lose because they're either mental midgets and they're in their own heads because they don't like the teams right out the gate, or they just don't communicate, or they just like hold W and mouse 1. They just try to play like NA style, super puggy, run through smokes. So it's been interesting to see like who I would like to play with and who I would never want to play with, and seeing how that, kind of some of them kind of did this, like, and they switched. I just think has been interesting. The other point I wanted to make about FPL in North America is that there have been several instances where I feel like it's helped the community feel more like a community. And by that I mean, in the past, if you got up, you'd queue for some ESEA, you'd stream, and if I was playing a pug, maybe I'd queue up against or with Hiko or against a Duran, or like 3 or 4 pro players, and that was it. Now it's like, boop, 3 or 4 o'clock Eastern, everybody get on. It's time to queue up for FPL, right? And it's like people that I didn't get along with in the past that I'm getting along with now, and I'm actually friendly with and stuff. And it's just like relationally, I feel like the community was kind of like really stretched apart. And it was this guy hates that guy, and there's drama, and this guy doesn't want to play with him, and he TKs that guy, and he hates him, and he wants to fight that guy at LAN. All that shit gets kind of tucked underneath when the goal is to win, because you can make money on FPL. So I really feel like it's done a really good thing stepping the community forward. I think it's exposed some bad people, some good players, some bad players, and then at the same time I feel like it's really helped kind of wrap the community a little bit closer together, which I think honestly overall is a really, really good thing for NA. And I'm really excited about that as just one piece of the puzzle. I think that's all the thoughts I have on FPL. So overall, a good thing. Really enjoy playing with it. Looking forward to competing in it this month. I think I'm undefeated this month. I have one win. I played yesterday, and then it just felt like crap, and I ended up laying down and sleeping most of the day. Hoping to queue up here in a little bit and stream maybe one or two today. And then the last question I keep getting asked about is the our team for next season, and what our plans are, what who's going to be our fifth. We haven't signed anybody. We've been playing, as some of you guys probably already know, we've been playing with Lucky. Lucky's a known good player. He's been proven on LAN. He's been proven online. He's been around for a while. He's competed at a high level in the game before. Haven't signed him yet. It's looking likely that he will be our fifth, but nothing's guaranteed. No contracts or anything have been signed. But that's kind of where we're at right now. I can say with certainty that Anomaly will not be playing with us next season. He's the player that we would be replacing with a Lucky or whoever as we continue to evaluate some other player options. I won't go into detail on all the reasons, but I can say a big part of it is that we felt like 2016 was going to give us a lot of opportunities to kind of climb the ladder to move up in NA. And we were looking at different options, and we felt that replacing Anomaly with a better player was the number one way we could have a huge positive impact on the team overall. So that was a big part of it. Not the only reason, but definitely a huge part of the reasoning that the team decided that they wanted to replace Anomaly. We qualified for the minor. We placed second in the Road to Vegas tournament, losing only to Conquest in the entire tournament. We were improving towards the end of last season. I think adding a stronger fifth, plus all those things, we're continuing to move in the right direction. And I really feel confident that we can sneak up to the top of North America next season. Not because I feel like we're so much better than everybody and all that kind of thing. I still think most of our matches will be underdogs in. But I feel like those rosters I listed before, the CLGs and the C9s of the world that were considered Tier 1 NA, I feel like they're all moving backwards, and I feel like we're moving forwards. So those two things combined gives a big opportunity for us, in 2016. And we're really hoping to leave a mark and hopefully qualify for the Turner League and be on TV every Friday. Should be pretty awesome. And like I said, this is the time for us. 2016 is a big opportunity. We got to make sure we've got all the right pieces and parts, from having the right players and keeping a player like Kusta and adding a stronger fifth than the fifth that we had before, to making sure I'm doing all that I can as a coach to make us ready to play matches. Especially the important matches that could lead us to the top of NA, to allow us to qualify for the major, which is a huge goal of ours. To making sure that we've got the right org and making sure that Enemy's paying our players the right amount and showing us the love and supporting the team, and to making sure that all those other small things that people don't see behind the scenes are all lined up. And if we get all those things right, I think 2016 should be a great year for us. Looking forward to it. And that's it. So this was shorter than the other versions, which is good. It's still a little bit longer than some of the previous episodes, but I knew that was going to happen because I haven't done one of these in a while. If you guys have questions, please feel free to throw them at me. Use the hashtag AskRyu on Twitter, or AskRyu if that's how you prefer to pronounce it. I would expect something from me in the next couple weeks, probably like a personal update, just because you guys know I was laid off from my job in October, I think. And I decided to take a couple months off, do the full-time stream thing, which has been great, and your support has been amazing. Between that and what I get paid from Enemy, it's not quite enough to cover all my bills every month, so I'll be looking at some options. There's a chance I'll be back at work, but I would expect an update of some kind to come out in the next couple weeks. And I think that's all I got. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you guys next time.